Hey folks, it's Finn. I am now a week post-op after having a cystoscopy, so I'm just popping in to give you a bit of a catch-up on where I am with this ongoing bladder saga. I hope you have been able to keep up to date over on the FinnFam page. If you haven't, I'll put the link up here. So let's have a catch-up on here as to where things are. So I was admitted to the Highgate Hospital in London on the 3rd, and I had surgery on the 4th of March. And this was to undergo a cystoscopy procedure to have a look at what exactly had been going on, because I'd had a fix of my urethra 6 weeks prior to that, where they'd found a cul-de-sac, and in the 6 weeks since then I'd had ongoing pain when peeing, huge burning, frequency in urination, and blood in my urine. I'll put a link up to a video which explains a bit more of that in detail as well. I would love to say that this has all gone to plan, but it hasn't really, at least not the way I would have planned it to go. I basically woke from surgery to find that they had unhooked me, which means they'd literally bypassed my new urethra, and currently I have a catheter underneath my penis, and when the catheter comes out, that's where I'll be peeing from. Unfortunately, Mr. Garaffa was again very, very vague with his information. It just seems to be who he is as a surgeon, so I have no idea why the decision was made to unhook me. I do know that this can happen at times, if there are problems with the urethra that need some really strong fixing, then they often unhook it so that you pee from underneath for a while, so that it gives your urethra time to heal, and then you can be rehooked later. And that's the case of what's going to happen with me. I have a catheter for now, which is to be in 2 weeks, so we've got a week left on that. And when that comes out, as long as I don't have any problems peeing, then in a few months' time, I'll be able to go in and be rehooked up. And this time they'll use a mouth graft. It's called a bacusal something or other. I can't remember what it's called, but basically it's a graft from inside your mouth, and they use a piece to rehook the urethra. Then, if that surgery goes to plan and I come out of that and I can pee okay, then 3 months after that, I'll then be able to have the erectile device fitted, the final stage of lower surgery. So, how do I feel? Well, emotionally, I feel hugely, hugely disappointed and really quite shocked, because I had no idea that unhooking me was even on the table before going in. So to wake up and discover that's what had gone on was just devastating. To have been peeing successfully for 6 months, and then for this issue to have been discovered, and now to not be able to stand to pee, I know it's temporary, is devastating. It really, really is. And what makes it harder emotionally is Mr. Garaffa's incredibly poor patient communication. He just doesn't seem to want to discuss. It seems he makes you feel like you're really putting him out when you ask him a question. So I'm not debating that this needed to be fixed. It was explained to me that the cul-de-sac would have caused problems along the line. Even if I wasn't having problems then, I likely would have down the line. And I know that it's imperative that issues are sorted out early on, because after the erectile device is fitted, it's very hard to go in and correct problems. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate there was probably a very, very good reason why I was needed to be unhooked. What my issue is, I'd like to know why. I'd like to know what was causing the constant bleeding, what was causing the constant urination, what was causing the constant pain. I'd just like to know why that was all an issue, and why it was so bad that the only solution was to unhook me. But I've just got to let that go for the time being, and when Mr. Christopher comes back, I shall ask him, and I know he'll be able to tell me exactly what's gone on. I didn't have any choice for this surgery because it was pretty emergency. I needed to go in, but from now on, I'm requesting Mr. Christopher. It's hard because all of this frustration and anger and confusion is really detrimental to your healing. It really, really is. And I stayed with Finn and Shell after this surgery, which turned out to be the best thing, really, because it's the emotional side of stuff that's been the hardest out of all of this, and staying with them and talking to them both about, I've just got to let this go. I cannot afford to let this eat me up. You know, what's done is done. Just let it go for now, find out the information later on as to what went on, and just concentrate on healing. Mentally though, it has all been and continues to be incredibly tough. I've had a few months of just one knock after the other, and it's taken its toll. To be so close to that finish line, you know, to be going in for final surgery and then for there to be an issue and then to be a second issue, which is then going to require a third operation. So I'll have had 3 extra operations before my final surgery. It's just been hugely, hugely disappointing. But I was aware that this could happen. So I've just got to deal with it. I've just got to hand it over and accept that this is how it is, and eventually it'll all be worth it. I think the extra knocks have been in terms of the lack of communication and the awful care in St John's and Elizabeth was horrible. I have to say though that Highgate are amazing. I had a really, really great experience in there, which did really help. Another issue mentally is in being unhooked itself. Now I know it's only temporary, but to even just have a catheter coming out from under there right now is hugely dysphoria inducing. I know it's not a female part, and I know that men that have urethra issues often have to have a temporary hole made under their penis whilst it fixes. But because of the history of what was under there, having a catheter come out of there and knowing that I've got to spend the next few months peeing from there is very, very distressing. Yeah, my heart just sank to my boots when I realised where the catheter was coming from. It was just so, so sad. You know, I've been out a few occasions now and had to use the toilet to empty my catheter, and even just emptying my catheter, my anxiety and my dysphoria was huge. Just this feeling of not belonging in there, because, I mean, I know I've said this so many times, it isn't a penis that makes you a man, but for me personally, my biggest part of lower dysphoria was in terms of peeing and not feeling complete in myself, and it was adding to the dysphoria and using toilets and being able to stand to pee. All that dysphoria went, and I felt comfortable and in the right space. And so to be in toilets again and have to wait for a cubicle, even to just empty a catheter, has been hugely dysphoria inducing already. So I'm under no false pretenses here. I know it's going to be a few difficult months, but I've just got to remember it's temporary. Physically, I do feel so much better. The difference between coming round post-op this time to the last time is so significant. I clearly wasn't right from the off, I think, last time. Even Finn and Shell said the difference in me is incredible. I do feel so much more well. You know, the fact that I can sleep is a big issue, because I wasn't able to sleep because of needing the toilet all the time, and getting some sleep has made such a difference. You don't realise just how much sleep deprivation really impacts on your life. I got back home on Friday of last week, a few days ago, and I woke Saturday feeling so awake and with it, and I actually even managed to go for a little walk and felt wonderful. Saying that, since then I've been exhausted again, so I don't know what that's all about. I always worry when this happens. I think, oh God, is it all going wrong again? I've just got to remember I am only a week post-op, and that's probably what it is. I probably overdid it a little bit on Saturday, so I'm just having a bit of a quiet week and just getting things done at home and just being gentle. I'm not in any pain. There's no burning now. There's no blood in the urine. That's all really clear. I've got some soreness underneath from the wound, and I've got some questions about the wound themselves. It doesn't look completely right at the moment. I need to get some advice on that. But otherwise, I seem to be doing really, really well, and everything seems to be going in the right direction this time. So that's something to be positive about, hugely positive about. And the fact that I'm sleeping is giving me so much more mental energy to deal with all this stuff that's gone on, which was so needed, because I just wasn't able to get the energy to cope with it all. So now I get the catheter removed in a week, and as long as I stay issue-free, clear urine, no frequency, no pain ongoing, then I can be relisted and have this mouth graft hookup thing in a few months' time. Going forward, my ongoing priority now is my mental health. That has to have priority now, because without that, there's nothing else. It's been very poor the last 6 weeks especially. I'm hoping that this sleeping issue is going to help me to continue to fight it, but I've just got to kind of regroup a bit and replan. I'm going to have to prepare for some discomfort around sitting to pee and just be gentle with myself around that. I'm also going to have to accept that there are a lot of plans I had this year that are now going to have to change or even be shelved for a while. I had plans of going back to work. It was feeling really quite close this year, and now there's no way I can start a brand new job like this and then just keep having time off. So that's going to have to be shelved, unfortunately, which is frustrating, but it is how it is. I'm just working hard now on re-looking at things, bringing my focus back to the present and just changing my perspective on it all. I had lost sight of the moment a bit because I was so looking at that finish line, and now I'm just bringing it back. This isn't what I wanted, but it's a step towards being fixed anyway. The goal is still the same. I'm just going a slightly different direction, and that's okay. I've been doing a lot of writing lately, which has been really good because that's one of the ways I deal with a lot of this, and I've written a fair few stuff on my WordPress blog about kind of trying to change my perspective, and I'll put a link up to that as well if you fancy having a read of that. So, it's not the news we wanted, but it is positive in that I've been fixed, and let's hope going forward now it'll be straightforward. But even if it isn't, the goal's the same. No matter what way you get to it, the goal's the same, isn't it? So that's what I've got to remember. I will update in a week's time once I've had the catheter out and let you know what's going on. You may well see me before then because I've got a few other vlogs up my sleeve, but it depends how tired I am because I really haven't gone zonk again at the moment. So if I'm not too tired, I'll do a vlog in the meantime, but if not, you'll see me in a week for an update regarding catheter removal and so forth. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your love and support. It really does make a huge world of difference. You know, even just the smallest word that you're thinking of me means so much and just makes this whole thing just that little less horrific. So thank you. I'll update soon. Have a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.